Welcome back, everyone. It is Sunday, and you know what that means. It is a new Unturned Pages episode. As you can see, Alicia is not. She just needed a night off, which is totally understandable. She was at Bradhead last night and yesterday, so she is tired. So we are going to let her have a night off, and we're just going to have some fun today, right? So let's go through our little slideshow things right now. Let's pull that up. Let me grab it. So thank you to our sponsors, Small Town Paranormal Productions, Creepy Crate, which is a wife and husband group out of Ohio. They make paranormal music boxes. They make spirit boards. They are a paranormal team as well. So please go out and support Creepy Crates. They are amazing people. We have Reaper Paranormal out of Minnesota. Great team of paranormal investigators who travel all over the country investigating haunted locations. And then we have Breaking Fate Entertainment, which is a filmmaker, a event host. He does so much, so please go check out Breaking Fate Entertainment as well. Upcoming events, now that FCI Con is over, the next big event I have is Paranormal Rockford Paranormal Convention, July 11th, out in Rockford, Illinois. I can pull that up here. Hold on one sec. July 12th, sorry. The 2025 Illinois Paranormal Conference. It is held in Rockford, Illinois. Richard Estep, Dave Schrader, Tobias Raylan, Larry Eisler, AJ will be there, Robin and Ted will be there as well. So please come out and support that event. I will be there doing aura photography. And then the following weekend is Paranormal Lockdown, which we all have been talking about all year round. That is the following weekend, 18th and 19th at Bradhead Manor. And then the following weekend is the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, 25th through the 27th in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. So July is super busy for all of us, so please, if you are able to attend any of these events, please come out and support those events because we all want to support each other, correct? Yeah. Let's see here. We have Ryan in the chat. What's up? How is it? And then we have Heather in the chat from Louisiana. Amazing people. You guys go support them if you can. They are Louisiana Spirits out in Louisiana. Amazing people. But let's see here. And then November 15th and 16th, please come out to DeKalb, Illinois and support the Dark Arts and Oddities event that Breaking Fate Entertainment is hosting. Amazing event. I will be doing aura photography and giving out or doing an aura photography workshop for the first time. So I'm super excited for that. But tonight we have a great guest. I'm going to read off her little bio here. Jenny C. Bell is a spiritual witch and founder of Our Coven, an inclusive international and online community for witches and pagans. For over 20 years, Jenny has practiced yoga, meditation, and tarot and worked with the healing powers of crystals. So we will be talking about crystals, healing, meditation, yoga, everything metaphysical today. So let's bring on our guest, Jenny C. Bell. Hello.
Hi, Jenny.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Hold on. Let me turn up my volume here. All of a sudden, it's like my volume is low. There we go. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Busy weekend, but pretty good.
You seem very busy all of July.
Yeah, I'm literally home one weekend. That's next weekend. And then I'm gone most of July, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But November, December when it's cold.
Sorry, it froze. I don't have like the best internet, so we're just gonna figure it all out.
We're gonna figure it out. Yes, I said it's better to do it now when it's warmer and not when it's colder.
Yes, for sure.
Heather says the Jennies
Yes, I know. And you're a Jenny with a Y too, which I don't find very often. So.
No, there's not a lot of Y's with Jenny's. It's usually the I. I'm like,
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it's another Jenny, so we're just gonna have the Jenny show tonight.
Yeah.
So tell everyone a little about yourself. I know I did a little bio real quick of you, but give us a little more info about you, and then we'll start diving into crystals and all the metaphysical topics.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me. And because your audience is a special kind of audience, I will say that I do have a background in ghost hunting.
Oh, you do?
I do. Yes. And so that was something I did a lot with my friend Jeff. I met him in a pagan meetup circle, and we were like amateur ghost hunters for a few years, and super fun for us. I even wore my ghost earrings. I'm like, I gotta wear my ghosts today.
Oh my god, those are so cute.
Yeah. And yeah, this is my first book that's coming out. I wanted to be a writer for a long time, but I was actually a school teacher for a really long time. 13 years. I taught middle school and high school English. Taught a lot of Edgar Allan Poe. We did like ghost stories. I always did a big thing on Friday the 13th. Like I was supposedly in the broom closet, but I think if the kids really looked hard enough, they'd be like, wait a minute.
They're like, wait a minute, what is going on?
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is kind of like a second career, I guess, is writing and running an online coven and making videos on TikTok and all that kind of weird stuff.
I know you're like on it with TikTok. I'm like, I always watch your TikToks. I'm like, I want to do what she does. Like, mine is mostly ghost hunting, but now I'm like starting to post like the metaphysical stuff as well. But I'm like, she's got her game on with that.
Yeah, it just started with storytelling. I kept telling like tarot stories or interesting ghost stories on my Instagram. And I had a former student's like, can you please do this over on TikTok? And then my best friend too, she's like, you're really missing out. Like, that's where you should be. And they were right. So.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So what made you choose to write the Spirit Crystal book?
Well, I feel like I didn't really choose it. So I originally wrote a book on witchcraft, and I shopped that around, and that's how I got my agent, and I got interest from Llewellyn, and they said, oh, we can see that you can write, but we don't really love that other book. What other ideas do you have? And I was like, okay, this is an opportunity. So I already had this as a course, it's no longer a course. It was a course on Udemy, and it was all given to me in the Akashic Records. I went in there and I just asked, like, what should my next class be? I was like, you should teach about spirit crystals. And then it was like all the information I needed. And I thankfully voice record, otherwise I would have lost it. And so it started off as a class. And so I knew that like it worked for people, and people really like feeling good about it, and people were getting a lot out of the class. And so I was like, I think I can turn this into a book that people can use for guidance. And so that's how it was born. I pitched that idea, and they said, yeah, like, let's see what that looks like. And then here it is.
Yeah, and it's a really good book. Like, I got a early copy from Llewellyn, and I was like dived into it. I'm like, this is really good. Like, it's like easy for anyone who picks up a book can understand what it's all about. It doesn't go into like detail that would put someone over the edge. Just enough info to get them to start.
Well, I appreciate that, because I was a teacher. And so for me, it's like, I want everything I do to be teachable, and not to have someone be like, oh, it's so like heavy, dense, esoteric. Like, I don't even know what she's talking about. I wanted people to be able to be like, oh, this makes sense. I can do this.
Hold on. I think I'm having Wi-Fi internet issues. Hold on 1 second. Okay. I'm going to check my Wi-Fi. I don't know what's going on, because it keeps like kicking. Like, I only hear like every other word of you. So let me see if I can change something on my end.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. Hopefully this doesn't kick us off. Are we back? Hopefully we're... Hopefully. So, like, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just see my little like Wi-Fi signal going up and down real fast. I'm like, oh, please stay with me for the rest of the night. You can go out after I get done with my podcast.
Right.
So, for people who don't know, what are spirit crystals?
Well, they are, and stop me, like if you can't hear me, like, or if it goes out again, just let me know. But they are 6 particular crystals. They are all in the quartz family. And we basically, like, I lead the person through the book through a series of different meditations, and they can determine which spirit crystal they align with. And then from there, you go to that chapter, and each spirit crystal has an archetype associated with it, and meditations, rituals, spells, different healing tools specific to you. So it's less about like an encyclopedia of all the crystals in the world and more of building a relationship with one crystal and making them like a guide and an ally.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that's what I like about your work is it doesn't go into like all of the crystals. It goes into some of them, but not like other ones that you can find on Llewellyn or any other metaphysical publisher. It gives you the info that they might not give to you as you're reading their book.
Yeah, it's a very kind of like,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's kind of like a minimalist approach. Like my idea is that you get one crystal and you build a deep relationship. Because for me, they talk to you, like they're alive. You can have a relationship with them. They're not just like something to put on the altar or put in a spell jar, but you can really like awaken them and connect with them. And then you don't need, I mean, I just kind of find it's like with social media, everyone thinks they need like all these crystals and then they get them. They don't even remember what they were for. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And like we used to own a shop up here in Minnesota, and what I tell people, like when you're looking at the crystals, just don't look at the pretty colors. Hold it in your hand, and if you get like a feeling, like a warm fuzzy feeling, it wants to work with you. But if you don't get any feeling or like a dull no feeling at all, then put it down and pick up another one because you want it to work with you, and you want it to work with like you want that balance. You want that working relationship.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and so the book guides people on how to cleanse the crystals properly, how to wake them up so they will connect with you. And then from there, once you're connected, like we go into crystal grids and crystal skulls and like deepening that crystal relationship.
Definitely. I know, let me see if I can find it in this book. It was a really good, let's see. I should have marked it. I love how your books have like the journal pause and the meditations to go with it as well. Because you don't see that very much in books anymore.
Yeah, like I said, that teacher background, I'm like, I want people to learn and like, I want it to be interactive, you know?
Definitely. So like on your end or how you think of it, how do you know if a crystal wants to work with you? Because I know how I just described it is my way of telling people. What is your way of informing people of how to know when a crystal wants to work with you?
Yeah, so I love your way. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people don't have crystal shops near them. I'm grateful. I have several. I have one. I was just there recently. Super nice shop, and like a lot of the tumbled crystals are $1. Like it's so affordable. But a lot of people don't have that, and they have to shop online. And so, really, like one of the things I've kind of figured out is sometimes the reason why people don't connect with certain crystals is because the crystals come to them like unhappy, like they pick up vibration and energy. And so I always tell people, like, number one, like you get a crystal in the mail and you're not feeling it, like it needs to get cleansed immediately. Like cleanse it, physically clean it if you want to. Like sometimes people feel like it's kind of grubby or whatever. Give it a good cleanse. And then I always bring mine out into the sunshine. It doesn't have to be direct sun. Certain crystals fade, like fluorite or whatever, but I feel like that sunshine will like reawaken them, because who knows how long they have been in like a drawer
on
or
that
box.
shelf. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah. And so then I feel like that helps the person be able to like wake up that crystal energy and then maybe be able to connect with it if they didn't connect with it originally. But yeah, I always say use your intuition. Like that's the biggest thing that people, like anybody, like that's for any path, like honing that intuition, listening to that intuition, that's the best.
Absolutely. And like I know people I was taught during Reiki, like yes, there's certain crystals to go with each chakra,
Yeah.
but if you hold that crystal, let's say it's aventurine, but it doesn't, like, you don't get that feeling in like your root chakra, it might hit like a different chakra. It all
Yeah.
depends on you and your energy and the crystal's energy. So you just don't want to go to like a crystal shop or online and pick a red, like aventurine for the heart chakra. You don't want, it might not hit that one heart chakra. It might hit your other chakra, like your crown chakra. It all depends person to person.
Yeah. And when in doubt, I always recommend if people don't have any crystals, to start with a clear quartz because they're affordable.
Absolutely.
And they go for any chakra, like it's all of them, and they amplify other crystals. Like they're just so easy to work with. And I haven't found
Yes.
anybody, like I ask in all my classes, like, do you have an aversion? That's one of my favorite questions to ask. Like, do you have an aversion to any crystal? And I've never had anybody say they had an aversion to clear quartz. Like everyone feels like good with that one.
Yeah, that one's like the universal crystal, like amethyst too. But
Yes.
like if you bring in like moldavite, Todd said they never take off their moldavite necklace. A lot of people can't handle moldavite's energy because it's so, I don't want to say dramatic, but so powerful. Like when I hold it, my hand goes tingling, my hand turns like into fire. Like I can't hold moldavite. It's like just not the right time. And with moldavite, you have to be in the right mindset to have it, basically.
Yeah, if I have a moldavite necklace, I wear for channeling and certain things, but if I wear it for too long, I feel dizzy. Like, I don't know, my body's like adjusting and it feels dizzy.
Yeah. And what people have told me with moldavite, it can either really help your life with you in your life, or it can do the opposite if you're not at that point that you need to be to have moldavite.
Yeah.
So there's definitely stones out there that you have to work up to. Like moldavite, what's the other one of like the moldavite family? Libyan glass is another one that you have to work up to because it's like in that moldavite family. Definitely. So you mentioned it a little. How would you recommend people to cleanse their crystals besides like sunlight or water? Because I know some crystals you can't use water, like selenite, because it will just dissolve in the water.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So another option is to put the crystal near a houseplant or like in the garden. And you can put them actually like in the soil if you feel like it's really heavy, like especially if you've used it on somebody else during a Reiki session or something, and a lot of things for that person. It's returning it to where it belongs, right? It belongs and it came from the earth, and you return it to the earth, and you can leave it in there for as long as you need. Like sometimes it's just like a couple of hours in a house plant. Sometimes people leave it in for like a whole full moon cycle. It really depends on, and like again, I'm always like, use your intuition. Like if this crystal's telling you like I'm tired, like I've had crystals break, right? Just like break. And I'm like, okay, sorry. Like I wore you out. Like I should have given you a break.
Wore you out. Maya says, I need to try putting them in soil. Good idea. That is definitely a good idea. I haven't heard about putting it in soil. Like, I've heard about putting them in, like, sunlight bowls or the sunlight, the moonlight, but never putting them in the soil. So that's a good idea.
Yeah, and sand. Like I have beach sand on my altar always, and so that's another one. You can put it in the beach sand. It's not wet, so you don't have to like clean the crystal after. It comes out fine.
Right.
Yeah, like it's, remember they're from the earth, so bring them back to the earth when they feel like they're disconnected, right?
Absolutely. Joshua asks, is there a crystal that protects from demonic energy?
Yeah, so we have like quite a few what we call protective crystals. And I would
Mm-hmm.
say the top two are probably black obsidian, which is a volcanic glass, and black
Yes.
tourmaline is the other one. And so both of those really absorb negative energy. I always keep a piece of black tourmaline by my front door just to like keep people out that I don't want in, including undead people, right? But I would
Right.
say that would probably be like if I was going to go ghost hunting or something, or I was going somewhere, I would wear like I have a black tourmaline bracelet. I would wear that, maybe carry the obsidian. I would say those are like top two. I don't know if you have another one that you would recommend.
Um, Definitely like black tourmaline, black obsidian. Another one I use is rose quartz to bring in that love, to kind of
Yeah,
deflect the negative.
yeah, to balance it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Myra says she has black tourmaline in the corners of her front door. That's another way, because you have
Yeah.
people coming and going out of your house, and you want to protect your house because that's where you have to live. So definitely like black tourmaline, I would say. Clear quartz, rose quartz are another good ones to put up in like the corners of the house for sure.
Hmm. A lot of people like to put like little pieces of selenite above the door to
Yep,
cleanse everybody coming in. And then, yeah, definitely those for sure. I like rose quartz as well. Yeah, shungite's another one. That's a
shungite
really
is
good,
really good. Yep,
that's a good one.
yeah, definitely. Joshua says I need it from Taco Bell. Oh my goodness. That's great. Um, so like crystals come in all different shapes. They can come in tumbled, so the small ones that you can get at like the crystal shops for a couple dollars, $1. And then you have towers, and then you have free forms, you have skulls, you got the big like cathedrals when it comes to like amethyst and citrine. What let's say does like the size and shape matter of how effective that crystal is?
So I usually say with crystals, size doesn't matter. And but definitely shape does. I am a crystal skull keeper, and I believe that crystal skulls are definitely like a separate thing. Like they are not the same as a regular crystal because you can invite like a guide to inhabit your crystal skull. You can purchase them already with a name and a guide, and then you are a keeper. Like you're not, I don't think it's just like something that sits on your altar. Like I always have my favorite right here with me, and I'm her keeper. Like she and I are together. She's actually part of why I learned about spirit crystals. She was with me for my Akashic Records reading. And it's just like a whole different, it's a different vibe, like a crystal skull, because it's been carved and it's given like this human or humanoid kind of form. In my book, I talk about the different shapes because you can have animal skulls, you can have
Yep.
galaxy, you can have alien, you can have magical child. Like there's different styles of skulls and they're definitely different. And I do think the same goes for like when people pick up like a little carving of an animal, like not necessarily a skull, but they get like an angel carving or like a little cat statue.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be,
The
it's
spirit
now it's
animal.
different. Yeah. I feel like the shape, the carving changes, but not so much size. Like I feel like you can get just as much out of like a little tiny crystal bead that you could like a giant crystal. Like you don't need to have, especially because most people, the crystal budget isn't like we can't all have the giant crystals, right? We don't have the space for
Yeah,
the budget.
right. Right. You can't have the big crystals all the time. Like
Yeah.
you go to the Tucson gem show sometimes. Have you been
No,
to that
I
one yet?
No, I lived in Southern California, and that's where I went to school, and I was part of my geology club. And so I learned about all the different rock and gem shows out in the desert there. And so I've been to quite a few like good rockhound ones, and I've even gone out to get halite, which is a special kind of salt crystal out in Trona, which is out in the desert. But so I've got to see
Ooh.
that kind of thing. And so the
Mhm.
deserts in general have like the best shows because that's
Definitely.
where they're just out there. Like people don't have to really mine as much. Like there's nothing covering them. They're just out in the desert.
Hmm. Definitely, if you ever get a chance, go to the Tucson Gem Show. It's like the end of January to like mid February. like people all over the world come to this gem show and bring crystals from China, Madagascar, all over, and it literally takes over the city of Tucson. Like any street you go down in Tucson, you'll find a gem shop. You'll find a gem little like fair happening with a ton of vendors selling different crystals and merchandise and everything. Like I get lost in Tucson. When I go, I'm like, look at that pretty rock. Oh, look at this one. And it literally takes over the whole city of Tucson. It is huge.
Okay, so I'm adding that to the bucket list.
Yeah, definitely. We've gone, I think 3-4 times, and the one time we bought a trailer on the way down, we literally filled it to the brim, and we had to ship other things home because we ran out of space.
Wow.
Yeah, and then there's like the Denver Gem Show in September and the spring. Amazing. I love that one as well because two of my favorite rock wholesalers are there, like JK and Rock Warehouse are out there. So I always go to their warehouses out there and then go to the gem shows because we have that repertoire with them. But yeah, you definitely have to check out Tucson because it's crazy. People go crazy at Tucson. Like they will fight you on rocks there, like 100%.
Okay. That's I'm definitely.
Heather says she wants to go find crystals in the wild. I've yet to go dig my own crystals. I need to do that. Like
I have found garnet. I found opal. Here in Oregon, we have serpentine, and we have agate. And I found agate. But I would love to find like actual like clear quartz. I would love to go looking at diamonds in Arkansas. That's on my list.
That would be fun. Yeah. That is actually on my list. And then like going up to Canada to do the amethyst mines and stuff.
That looks amazing.
Like, Canada's like 5.5 hours from me, 6 hours maybe. So I'm like, needs to happen because you can take big bins of amethyst home for really cheap. I'm like, I want to go dig my own crystals.
Yes.
And my daughter, who's 7, is very into crystals and digging them. Like she'll go out in the front yard and start digging in the grass for rocks. And she's like, look, Mommy, I got a crystal. I'm like, okay. So like we have her like a little bucket of like the crystal bucket things that there's in sand and they have to dig them out.
Yes,
that's what she likes.
So fun. Yes.
We
did a lot of
with crystal.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's so fun.
So next question. So in your book you go through like the 7 chakras and how crystals work with each one. For some people who don't know like the basics of chakras, can you quickly go through each? I know there's like over 140 different chakras, but 7 main chakras. Can you quickly go through each main chakra real quick and what crystals usually are recommended for each chakra?
Yeah, so I focused on just the 7 main chakras, which are like, I think more people are familiar with them from like yoga and things like that. And the best way to remember the chakra system is it's the same acronym as the rainbow, Roy G. Biv. Mm-hmm. So you have red at the bottom and then you go all the way up to the top as a rainbow. So that's one of the best ways I think for a lot of people to learn about them. So your first one at the base of your spine is called your root chakra. And it's interesting because like it usually has the color red associated with it, but I've heard like all kinds of things like from new age people say, okay, all the chakras can be golden. Like it seems like people have different ideas, but if we're kind of basing it on like the original idea, we would say like red, right? And I like to say that the clear quartz can balance any of the chakras, like I said. So when in doubt, if you're like, I really want to help my chakras or align them, and I have a ritual in here with the clear quartz to use it to kind of clear out your chakras, just grab one of those. And with the color system, so if you're like looking at a root chakra and you're doing red, you could use, like you said, a red crystal, but then You never know. Like your body could react to it differently and be like, no, actually, I really needed that healing somewhere else. So again, always use your intuition. But I like clear quartz, like I said, for that one. And then citrine is another one that I personally, so when I wrote my book, I based it off of what I got channeling with each crystal. So I sat with each one of the spirit crystals and I was like, which chakra are you associated with? What's your color? What's your archetype? Like, that's how I wrote this book. And then later I would go and like do research. And it was a couple times my editor would be like, there's nowhere else that anybody says this crystal is associated with this chakra. I was like, well, this is what the crystal told me. So this is what makes it a little different. It's going like a little different, a little more rogue, I would say. And then your sacral chakra, I like to call that your spiritual womb. So whether you are male or female or what doesn't matter your gender, it's like where your womb would be spiritually. And that one I like to have with smoky quartz. And again, that's another one that not a lot of people associate with that chakra, but that felt right to me and for the book. Solar plexus is between your belly button and your ribs, and that's like what you call like your inner sun. And so for that one, a lot of people would put citrine for sure on that.
Right.
And then you can also like, again, like sunstone, tiger's eye, other kind of orangey ones, like you said. And then the heart chakra, most people like in like yoga and those kind of older traditions, they see the heart chakra as green, but a lot of new age people see it as pink. And I think that's why. Yeah. And I've read like different, there's this woman named Roz Place. She's an angel expert, and she always says the heart chakra is pink. And that's why I think some people associate like watermelon tourmaline with it, because you have the pink and the green. And I think that's part. Yeah. And so that's one. And then of course, and of course rose quartz. But see, it's like we're looking at rose quartz as a pink crystal, but we're saying the color of the chakra is green. It's kind of like, it does make sense that it would be pink. And then the throat chakra is like more like at the between the collarbone, right? Like it's not like actually like your throat. So if you're gonna put like if you're gonna put a crystal there to heal it, you don't have to like shove it on your throat. You
don't want it on your throat during like a Reiki session. You're like,
I can't breathe.
I can't breathe. You don't want like a crystal on your throat and you're trying to breathe. You're like, put it at your collarbone.
Yeah, so put it at your collarbone. And then that one, I like to use praziolite or aventurine, which is green quartz, or aventurine is like a green version. And again, that's different. A lot of people like that for the heart chakra, but that's the one I really felt. Third eye chakra between the eyebrows, right? And that one, I really feel strongly about clear quartz. And then like we talked about moldavite. But like you said, moldavite is not for everybody at this time. Like, and unfortunately, people buy a lot of fake ones. Like there's a lot of
there's a lot of fake out there.
It's just like green glass getting sold to people.
Right.
And then the crown chakra, I like to use amethyst. I think that's kind of the ultimate one. And that the crown is like, you can put the amethyst if you're working like with Reiki on top of your head, but really I like the crown chakra sits above the head. Like we like, because your aura goes out so far, as you know. So yeah, that's kind of how I would go down and explain those chakras.
Yeah, definitely. I like your explanation, because that's like I do aura photography, so I do like the client comes in, puts their hand on the plate, and it reads the aura and the chakras, and then it gets into much more detail, like the personality, energy levels, and stuff. So I always try to give out like crystal guidance, like what crystals you can use when you are like low in the heart chakra or low in a different chakra, kind of give them references of which crystals they can go look at. But I always tell them different crystals do different things. It might hit you at your crown chakra if you're looking at your heart chakra, but it might just hit up different areas. Heather says she needs to know which crystal can help me find my mystic gift. What is your recommendation for her? Like, where do you want?
Yeah, I would recommend going, not to plug my book and be goofy, but really going and finding the spirit crystal, because once you find it, then you are associated with an archetype. And then the archetype actually tell you which like divination is best for your archetype. And for the like everyone I've talked to, they're like, I never would have tried palmistry, but you told me like that's a good one for me. And then they're like, that really, I really resonate with that, or I never would have used a pendulum if you didn't tell me. So I do think that finding the spirit crystal, it's not hard. And like there's alternatives if people do struggle with meditation. I understand that. So there are alternatives to finding your spirit crystal that doesn't involve meditation if people really like just can't do it. But yeah, I would say learning that and then building that relationship, that really helps. And then eventually, if you're open to it, working with a crystal skull, because they really, I feel like, take your practice to the next level.
I think that's my next level is a crystal skull. I'm trying to find the right one.
Yeah.
I do Reiki, I do art photography, so having that to help as well would definitely help, I think.
Yeah, and I think getting a hand carved is the best.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of mentioned spirit archetypes. What are the archetypes that you talk about in your book, and what are like the crystals that go with each one, or like the practice with it?
Okay, yeah. So clear quartz is the healer. And so we look in that archetype at being a healed healer, right? Because a lot of time people who go into the field of healing other people are broken in some way and are really working on healing themselves through healing other people. And so a lot of the practices in that archetype are focused on nourishing yourself. It's like taking care of your chakras, doing things that fill your cup because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yep, and that's what I tell people during my art photography, like with the heart chakra. I'm like, if it's low, you need to fill your cup. And they always look at me with the weirdest look, like, what do you mean? I'm like, do you know the old quote, you can't help others if your cup is empty? They're like, yeah. I'm like, that's just the same way with self-love. Like, if your heart chakra is low, you need to focus on you, fill your cup, and then help others. Otherwise, you're going to be sick all the time because you're giving and giving, but you're not receiving anything back.
Yeah. A lot of people think, you do feel good when you help other people, and for sure.
Right.
But there's still like, you still need rest and nourishment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the one associated with the heart chakra is the rose quartz, and that is the archetype of the lover. And when I was writing this book, I went back and forth because I got like lover, but then I also got like earth angel energy, like someone who's just such a loving, big-hearted, like one, like, not that all the archetypes can't be like this, but just like that really loving person. Actually, my best friend is like this. So when I was writing this book, I'm like, it's totally her archetype. But that earth angel energy where you're just like, oh, this person is just like how do they even walk the earth? You know what I mean? And they give a lot. And that's that energy of the lover. And so the lover is a lot about self-love and pouring that love back onto themselves. And then amethyst is associated with the alchemist. And it's all about that higher magic and really transmuting like old stuck energy into magic for that person. And that is all associated with kind of like the ancient Egypt and tarot, like all of that goes with alchemy. And then smoky quartz is the medium. And so even if a person is like, no, I don't want to talk to dead people, you don't have to. It's not a requirement. But it's really about making peace with death. That's really what that archetype is about, is like connecting to like being okay with death and connecting with that rainbow bridge and really like working with kind of some more of the death deities like Hecate or Archangel Azrael. And then Aventurine is the sage. And so there's a lot about trusting your own wisdom. And these people tend to like give good advice, but not actually like, I think they give good advice. You know what I mean? Like they have all this wisdom, don't see that wisdom. And then that crystal is really there to help heal that. And then citrine is the manifester. And it's usually people who have had struggles manifesting. And then the citrine is there to help clear those blocks and get that person really manifesting and kind of on the path where they really want to be.
Yeah. And the book goes into much more detail, everyone. So go buy her book. Can't promote it enough. Your spirit crystals, really good. Go buy it through Llewellyn, or I bet you Jenny has it on her website as well. It goes into much more detail. This is just hitting like the overall info right now. but it gives you much more detail into the book. Like, I dove right into this book, and it makes so much sense now with like learning the archetypes and each one and which one I'm more aligned with than the others. But I know Heather had a question. Let me find it here. Hold on.
Okay.
Where is it? So she says, what happens if you fall in a few of the different types?
Yeah, so you can work. Yeah, you can totally work with all of the archetypes. In fact, the last chapter of the book is about working with all of the crystals and how you can combine them for different purposes. So I personally, like how I would read the book is I would go through the first couple of chapters, figure out what my spirit crystal is. Then I would jump to that chapter. I would read that and like really do all of that work and then decide, okay, like which one am I feeling next? Like using the intuition and not going in order. So let's say I do all of the practices and I am like an alchemist, like amethyst is my thing. I do all of that. And then I'm like, I'm really feeling like citrine is next. Or you can go back and do the meditation and ask, okay, which one's next? And then you can go through and do all of that. And so, yes, you can totally like everyone, like people have been asking me, well, what's your spirit crystal? I'm like, all of them, because they're they're all connected to me. Like they come, like it's like all connected, but yeah, for sure. And that's kind of the idea. It was like, I wanted people to have the help, the medicine when they needed it. And then it's like, well, maybe like a year from now, I want to work with a different crystal. And then you pick the book back up and you go for it.
Yeah, definitely. You can, like I tell people, you can definitely work with different crystals at different times in your life. Like different things come up and you feel like you need to be called to a different crystal. Like it's totally fine. Everyone goes in shifts in their lives. Like a death can happen, so you're more pulled to something different than when you're just doing like trying to manifest a new job or something. Like different crystals will do different parts in your life. But you can always go back to that one that you always call to, but adding different crystals then can definitely help as well.
Yeah, that's perfect advice.
So you have an online coven. It's called Our Coven that you created. Tell us a little about it and what people would find in that coven or what they will learn if they join.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, so I have been a witch since I was 13, and I have always had like a companion during the journey. So I know a lot of people who are solitary witches or pagans or heathens, they are their one and only a lot of times. And it can be, and sometimes we like that. Like sometimes we're like, I don't really want to meet with people in person, and that's fine. But then there's other times when you're like, man, it'd be really cool to ask what other people are doing for this full moon. Like it would just be nice, like to talk to people. And I've always had that. So I was lucky to just always have like at least one friend who was down to ghost hunt or do whatever. And so I was thinking about like, I would like to really have a community because I moved during COVID and I did not have a community for obvious reasons. I have people in my life now in my community, but it was a very like lonely time. And I really reflected on like, well, what's the solution for that? And I was like, let me put like a group together. And so I looked at different options. Like Patreon wasn't for me because it's really about the person, I feel. And I looked at Mighty Network, and Mighty Network is a private social media. So we have like live chats and we have classes and we have articles, and you can like things like you would on a regular social media, but it's private and no one knows like you're in there, and it's like a safe container. So because another thing that happened to me is when I started getting online and like reaching out to people, I had a lot of like fake people. I'm sure we've all had people go in your DM calling you beloved, asking if you want to message your ancestors, whatever. And it's like, it's so gross. Like, I don't want that. Or people asking,
that's like Psychic 101. You don't give readings when they're asked for. Like, that's just invading privacy. Like, that's ick.
It's total ick. And I'm actually not nice. So like I have people recently, someone on Facebook's like, oh, I see that you need a relationship. I was like, first of all, you don't know me. Second of all, like I'm happy in my relationship. And third, like I do my own readings. So obviously you're wrong. So it wasn't nice. You're gross.
I bet They left you alone real quick after that one.
Yeah, like stop preying on me. I don't like it. So it was like a couple things. It was like I'm looking for community. I want other people to have community. I want everyone to feel safe. And then I was a classroom teacher, and my biggest, I guess, flex in my classroom is that I built community. Like I had students tell me like, yours is the only class I talk in. This is the only class I feel safe in. And I was like, that was my strength. More than teaching English, I was building families and community. And I had this opportunity where I taught the same students from 7th grade to 12th grade. I followed the same group of kids. And so that was so meaningful. And I was like,
oh, that's amazing.
It was. And I'm like, can I do that for like witches? Because,
right.
Why not? Can't we just like hang out together and privately? That was the thing. I really didn't want it on like a Facebook group or something. I just really wanted it off of, I didn't want ads. Like I like how it looks. It's very clean. There's no ads or like distractions. And yeah, so then I came up with it, and it's kind of taken off. It's our 3rd year now, and we have people from different parts of the world and really have built some strong community. Like there's people in there. Some of them have been my podcast, and yeah, it's really like a family in there.
Definitely. So how much does it cost for someone to join? And like you said, there's like classes in there and other information. So what is like the cost per year, or is it like a monthly fee?
So there's an option. So if someone wants to just come in for the month and like check it out and then decide from there, it's $22. So for $22, I do a live every month, and then you get access to everything. So it's not like because you paid monthly, you only get certain things. You get it all. You get like the entire library, which is a ton of past lives plus classes. There are a lot of how-tos because we get a lot of beginner witches. So it's like how to read tarot cards, how to read oracle cards, how to read the Akashic records, how to do a spell, what to do. Like we get all kinds of questions, and I put them all in one format. It was like what to do with spell remains. These are questions that aren't answered in other places. They're not answered in like books. And so it's a lot of that. There's a whole bunch on crystals. We have a book club that we read books every month together, and we talk about we do reading exchanges. So I'll post like a card spread, and then I pair people up and they can read for one another. I do every month a reading. So it's a pick a card, and people can pick a pile, and then there's a monthly reading for them. So it's just like a lot going on. And it's like some people will come in and be like, okay, where do I even start?
It's kind of a lot to walk into.
Yeah, we like to think of it as like a living book of shadows. So you come in and it's like you got access to all this, and then I try to answer everyone's questions within 48 hours. So like I'm the witch with 30 years experience, so I don't leave people hanging and they're like, hey, what does this mean, or what do I do with this candle? And I try to always give them the answer. So there's that like kind of one-on-one coaching too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's something I'm looking into doing, joining, because I'm like, I want to say a baby witch, but really not a baby witch.
Yeah.
Like I'm into more of the metaphysical stuff. I'm tipping, like we had the shop, and we have a huge like pagan community out here in Minnesota. I'm literally 10 minutes away from Llewellyn. So it's like Minnesota has one of like the biggest pagan communities out in the US. So like we go to like the pagan pride event in September. We try to go to Paganicon in March. But I'm just like slowly tipping my toes into it. Like just learning. Like I don't want to be like my friend who owns a witchy shop down in Stillwater. She's like full blown Salem witch. She's studied under Lloyd Cabot. I'm like, I don't want to go that far. I just want to be able to communicate, have fun, and a good conversation on my show, and be able to communicate with people who I run into at like Pagan Pride and Paganicon, and not be like a deer in headlight type of thing.
Yeah, I think of myself as kind of like that. Like I started off with witchcraft, but then I got more metaphysical. So kind of like opposite, I guess, of you. Like I started as a witch, and then I got more interested in like I started with Kyle Gray, who's the angel whisperer.
Yeah, so I love his decks. Like his decks are amazing.
He's amazing, and he's an amazing teacher. And I took a crystal skull class with him. Like he's amazing. And so it was like I kind of got more into like understanding metaphysical and new age recently, really like since 2018-ish. And prior to that was like all witchcraft, all paganism. So it's like I feel like they go together. Like there's a lot of overlap.
They really do. There's a lot of overlap.
A lot of overlap. But the one thing I saw when I was like talking to like a lot of new age people is they really didn't understand like spiritual protection. You know what I mean? And so that's where like I was like with witchcraft, that's like number one. We all know how to make a circle and we know how to protect ourselves. And so many of the people in the new age were like, oh no, it's just like love and light. Like no.
No. And like
Friend.
as a paranormal investigator, you also need to know personal protection, the spiritual protection. Because at first, an example, so I went to Waverly Hills, which is a big TB hospital in Kentucky that's extremely haunted. Went 2012, right before my high school graduation. I'm a baby, yes.
Yes, we are.
And I did school for a few days. Went to Kentucky, but I wasn't open as a psychic medium empath at that time. Like I knew something was going on, but I was like, nah, it's bull. I'm just overthinking things. Went back the year later, more open as a psychic medium empath, but I didn't know how to shut my stuff down. I didn't know how to spiritually protect myself. That's when I had a psychic attack at Waverly Hills. And ever since I went back to the hotel, my friend who's a psychic medium is like, did you not shut yourself down? I'm like, no, because no one taught me how to do it. And he goes, you sit your butt down. We're going to do this right now. You don't have a choice. It literally took him and like two other people like a couple hours for me to like physically, spiritually, mentally calm down because it was such a bad attack that I was just like all over the place. Like what I tell people getting into the paranormal, learn how to protect yourself. If it's a bright light, if you're imagining water coming down over you, if you're crystals, sage, Palo Santo, whatever, you have to protect yourself on investigations. Like that's when attachments happen. That's when attacks happen. It's when you're down at the lowest and you're not protecting yourself.
Yeah, I just taught a protection class in our coven, and I talked about having 3 forms of protection at all time. So if you do like a circle protection and you wear a protective piece of jewelry and you carry a protective crystal, like however you want to do it. But I like to have 3 forms going all the time. And that's just so you're constantly covering.
Definitely. Absolutely. You have a podcast, Cozy Coven Chats. Where can people find it and what do you talk about? Do you have like guests on, or is it just like you just having a conversation and kind of like teaching at the same time?
Yeah, so it was just kind of like I was like, I should try this. It was one of the I should just like, why not? Like I do other things. I love to talk. And this was just I was like a weird kid. I had like a little Casio stereo and I would make fake radio shows when I was like 7, 8, 9, 10. So I was just meant to like, I think, have a podcast at some point.
Right.
But yeah, so I decided to try this after talking to someone who works at Hay House, who's a publicist there. And they were like, hey, have you thought about a podcast? Like a lot of authors have a podcast. So I was like, why not? So it's kind of I just finished the first season. I ended up having some guests. I ended up having some solo. It was kind of like me figuring things out. The last few episodes have all been on crystals. So there's a really good episode on crystal skulls for people who are interested. And then a really good one on crystal grids. And I actually, on my YouTube channel, which you can watch the podcast there, I show you exactly how to do a grid in really a short amount of time. Like you don't have to take the hour-long class or whatever with someone. In a couple of minutes, I'm going to get you gridding with crystals. So yeah, I think next season I'd like to have more guests. I have some people who are interested. It's fun. Like I said, I love to talk. So it's
right.
It's fun.
It's fun because you get to talk and you get to learn from other people and have fun at the same time and talk about things that you love.
Yeah. And I love stories. I'm one of those people that in the grocery store, my husband will find me and someone's telling me their life story. Like, that's just common. And he's like, oh, mom made another friend, guys. Like, here we are.
Mom made another friend. Here we are. Definitely. Yeah. And then you have your own oracle deck, the Cosmic Creator.
Yes.
Tell us a little about it and where people can find it.
Yeah, so I actually created this with a former student. So like I said, I was a school teacher for 13 years. And I had this idea. My son, when we have a birthday book, and when he was like a toddler, one of the questions is like, what does God look like? And he's like, God is in space and there's everything and nothing. And I was like, okay. And then I really started to like lean into that. Like, what does that mean? And then I came up with this idea of the cosmic creator, where it's like we're all this in this big pregnant creation belly. And then I started coming up with like who would be in the cosmic creator oracle deck, and it ended up being a deck really devoted to divine feminine healing, but regardless of gender. And then I approached my former student and I was like, hey, like, I know you're into art. What do you think? And she's like, yeah, let's do it. And so we independently published it. You can go to my website, jennycbell.com. And if you click on it, it'll take you to the Game Crafter website, which is where we went through and published, and you can order directly from them. And it's fun. It's like, I don't know, it's a different kind of take on things. I love her artwork, and I love that it was like this, like, teacher-student relationship. And then in the midst of her creating all of this, she had her first baby too. And so like I was coming from a place of already being a mother, and this was kind of a motherly deck. And then she ended up becoming a mother, kind of changed the meaning of things for her too, which was really cool.
Definitely. It looks like an awesome deck. So where can people find you? Where, I know you do readings. How can people get readings from you? Or is that an in-person thing only? Because I know some readers and psychics only want to do in-person readings so you can connect with the energy. And I know some only do online.
Yeah, so I am a Reiki master. And so like, I'm sure we give distance Reiki. Yep. And so once I learned how to do that, I was able to give people readings online. Like, I could apply that same idea to connecting with someone's energy for a reading. Right. So I do them on Etsy, or I do them on Zoom, or I do them on person. All the information is on my website, jennycbell.com. The Etsy ones are a little more fixed. It's like you pick the spread or the layout or the question, and you go from there. The Zoom is more like free form, like we can just kind of go for it. I'm still like shopping around in my town to find like a place in person to be like, this is where I do this. For now, I just like meet people wherever, or they come to my house, or I go to their house, kind of a thing.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely. You have to find like the right place. Like, not all metaphysical stores or pagan stores will fit your energy. You got to make sure their energy is good with your energy, because energy can affect readings as well. Like,
for sure,
you have to be able to be comfortable where you're reading. So, are you writing another book? What is in the future for Jenny C. Bell?
I am. I have another book with Wiser this time, and it's called Divergent Witchcraft. I identify as neurodivergent, and so do a lot of people in our coven. And in fact, a lot of witches do. Yeah, a lot of witches do. And so I was like, well, I feel like we need to be taught a little bit differently. Like, a lot of times, the questions I get from neurodivergent people are so thoughtful and in depth that it just like take other people by surprise. Like, because we just think we think differently. And so the book was created, it can be for anybody who's interested in learning witchcraft, but it's specifically going to really help people who are neurodivergent, like really dig into it. I talk about our chakra system, I believe, is a little different than your neurotypical person. I answer questions. I have a go into a lot more in depth on a lot of things, because most neurodivergent people, we're not okay with surface. Like, we want to know.
We want to know. We want to know now. Like, we want to know all the info.
We want it all. We want that deep dive. We want that why. And what really gave me the courage, like, to polish that book up and keep going was listening to that recent podcast about nonverbal autistic people. I'm trying to think what it was called. Oh man, it's like on the tip of my tongue. Let me look. But telepathy tapes. I don't know if you've listened to it.
No, I haven't.
Okay, 100% recommend it. I think you'll love it. But it's all about how this person who went on a journey, which I was trying to find about spirituality, learned how a lot of nonverbal autistic children were basically communicating telepathically with their caregivers.
Oh, wow.
And it's just so good. Like I am like, I listened to that podcast like a good book, and I was like laughing, I was crying. I mean, it was like, and it just really proved to me what I knew all along, that neurodivergent people, we just see the world differently, and I think tend to be more open to spiritual gifts from a young age, and it's part of the struggle of being neurodivergent.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like my daughter's autistic, and she didn't speak until she was like 2.5-ish. But right now, like she's 7, her language is at like a 3.5, 4-year-old. So like just trying to get her on that same path, like trying to figure out what she's trying to actually say, what she is saying. And she's like very into like the metaphysical and
Yes.
being very earthy and very in tune with herself. She's a mini ghost hunter as well. She sits upstairs with my ghost hunting equipment, and she'll speak to the spirits of the house. Like, child, we shouldn't be investigating our house. And she goes, well, then take me out. I'm like, many places you can't go out and investigate at 7. A lot of places, like, you have to be 18 or older. I'm like, child, I love you. Just go sit outside in the yard and talk to spirits. Don't let them come in the house, though.
Agreed.
Right? Like, safe house. Safe 4 walls. Do not bring spirits in. Like, we have enough spirit activity here.
For sure.
Everyone, go check out her website. Buy her book. It is amazing. Go get it. It's on Llewellyn. Spirit Crystals. Highly suggest it. It's a great reference and a great read. Thank you again for coming on. And we'll have to definitely get you on to talk about meditation, yoga, and all that as well.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Have a great night.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
So next week, you guys, we have a double header show. We have Nikki Sleth, who is a author as well. And then we have Willie Atkins at the end of the show, second hour of the show, talking about his filmmaking, his journey into the paranormal, and so much more as well. So come back next week for a double header show. I'm going to post all the links in our Spotify download as well, so people can check out all of our links. And then we'll also post the links on our Facebook page as well. So y'all, we have a crazy month of July. Like I said, doubleheader show next week. And then the following week, we have Pam and Steve Berry talking about the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash. And then I think the following weekend, we don't have a show because it is a crazy weekend. And then Alicia will be having a guest on the 27th, so keep an eye out for that. We're booked out until, I think, October, so we have some great guests. We have a lot of Llewellyn authors, a lot of different topics ranging from paranormal all the way to metaphysical, pagan, astrology, everything and anything will be talked about in the next few months, so I'm super excited. So you all have a great week. Write down your goals for the week, and let's get those goals achieved. So have a great week, and we'll see you back next Sunday.